Hi, and welcome back to Meet Your Body. I am so excited to talk to you today. We are talking about muscle strength, which might seem like a large topic, right? I mean, I do a lot with workouts and a lot with movement as a physical therapist, as a women's health expert. I'm here talking to you about moving your body all of the time. So, in some ways, we've been talking about muscle strength for years and years and years. Today, I want to really dive into how you can build muscle strength and why it's so important. I want to actually get into kind of the nitty gritty of what you need to be doing to build muscle strength and why it is so valuable and why you need it. And I also want to tell you before we get into that about my build challenge happening right now in real time. So the week of May 12th, this is 2025, the week of May 12th for 5 days, I'm offering 5 workouts in 5 days free over on my YouTube channel. I'm going to have the link below. You can watch those in real time or you can go back to them anytime you are listening to this. So if you decide that you are at a place you are ready to start to build some strength, build some confidence, build some habits to keep your body moving, to gain that muscle mass, this is a great 5-day program. We cover weightlifting for legs and arms. We cover Pilates, cardio, and mobility. So you're going to get a little bit of everything in 12 minutes or less for 5 days in a row. So again, I'm going to have the link below for that. That's happening right now. It's called my Build Challenge and it's free over on YouTube. So getting into muscle strength. Why is this so important, especially for women as we age? So I'm coming at this from a perspective as a physical therapist doing this for a really long time. Movement is a huge part of what I do in my life and my job and what I teach and how I empower women. And also, I am right there with you in this perimenopausal, menopausal transition time. I am 47 years old. I definitely am in the throes of perimenopause, and I have noticed a lot of things over the past few years changing within my body due to perimenopause and this loss of estrogen. And we've talked about that here on the podcast. We've talked about it in all of my content and over at Unlimited. We're talking a lot about how we can support ourselves. I've talked about my story a little bit, like how I first noticed that I was in the perimenopause transition, some things I've noticed around estrogen loss. And my mind has really, really been focusing on this idea of how to keep the muscle strength I have and what I need to be doing to continue to gain muscle strength. So knowing that, yes, I was lifting weights 2 to 3 times per week, doing my regular workouts, those things haven't changed, but really wanting to dive in to look at, am I doing the most efficient work during those workouts? Like, am I doing what really needs to be done to build the muscle mass that I want to have as I go into this second half of life? I want, yes, a large lifespan, but I really want a long health span. And what that means is I want to be healthy and independent and functional and feeling my best during that lifespan. And that's really where I'm starting to kind of put that focus now, as again, I'm entering this next phase. And I think that's what I want all of us to kind of start to wrap our mind around, is not only, okay, do I have the habits of movement in my body, right? Like, that is so important. I want you to have the foundation. That Build Challenge can help with that. So much of what I teach is about 10 minutes a day is better than no minutes a day. Have you built the foundation of having a partnership with your body, of having those movement habits? That is vital and so important. And then also the next step, let's make sure we are actually doing exactly what needs to be done to keep our muscles strong. So that's what we're talking about today. It's so, so, so important. So let's talk first about what muscle strength is. Seems so obvious, right? It's being strong in your muscles, but it's actually a few different factors. So we are looking at, when we talk about muscle strength, we are looking at our actual strength. So the strength of the muscle itself, how much can you lift? Can you squat and get on and off the ground? Those kind of things, the muscle strength, but also the power of your muscles, the endurance and the speed. So all of those things, our speed, our endurance, our power, our strength, all of that is wrapped up in the function of our muscles. So what happens is we all start losing muscle mass at the age of 30, men and women. 30. I mean, goodness gracious. That feels early to me. There's nothing we can do about it. It's part of the aging process. Okay. So that part naturally starts to happen. We start to lose muscle mass. That is the part that we can't completely halt. We can't reverse time yet. All right. So we're all going to accept, let's take a deep breath. We're all going to accept that around the age of 30, we start to lose some muscle mass. And in general, we continue to lose about 3 to 5% per decade. Okay. So not a huge number, but enough to be aware of it. 3 to 5% of our muscle mass per decade. Here's the thing that starts to happen that we need to really be aware of. For women, around that menopausal transition, we actually start to lose more muscle mass, and it starts to happen faster. And it could be, some numbers say that we could have as high as a 30% loss between the ages of 50 to 70. That's a really big loss of muscle mass. All right. So what we're going to do though is we're just going to look at that with our scientific perspective. We're just going to say, okay, those are facts. Those are the facts I need to know, right? Knowledge is power. I need to know those things. Here's the thing. You can continue to build muscle mass. All right. So we are not just staying in that place, in that mindset of, oh my gosh, we're losing it. It's a part of the natural aging process. We're also going to say, all right, yes, that might be a fact. And also, there are things that I can do to continue to build muscle mass. I don't need to just accept that. I'm going to continue to build it. And yes, we're also going to accept that it's a little bit harder at the ages of 40, 50, 60, 70. It's a little bit harder than it was when we were 20. But that's okay, because we're resilient and we're strong and we can start new habits every day and we can still build muscle mass. We absolutely can. Scientifically, it's a fact that we can continue to build muscle mass throughout our entire lifespan. All right. So why is that important? Our muscles, in addition to just that general strength that you think of, and I know even the tone, everybody wants that nice toned look. More than that, our muscles keep us functional. They keep us independent as we age. Our muscle strength, our speed, our power, our endurance, all of that acts to help prevent falls. Falls are one of the number one things that lead to a loss of independence as we age. Muscle strength will help prevent falls. It helps, again, to keep you functional. It helps you independent. You can keep doing the activities that you love, gardening, hiking. Again, we talked about getting on and off the floor, all of those kind of things. It's vital, and we need muscle mass to do it. Muscle mass also is related to our brain health. All right. So they go hand in hand. The stronger we are, the healthier our brains are going to be. We help to prevent dementia. We help so many things. So we need to be strong. We're going to talk about how to do it. Another thing I want you to be aware of, and it's just, again, good information to have, because I posted this recently and talked about it, and so many people said they had never heard of this. You have two different types of muscle fibers, all right? You have type 1 muscle fibers and type 2 muscle fibers. The main difference, or what I kind of want you to understand about them, is type 1, it's going to be more for your endurance activities. So think that they work in a long period of time, and they are sustained. That's that kind of muscle work. So in a general sense, it would be your marathon runners. Those are your type 1 muscle fibers. Your type 2 muscle fibers are your sprinters. Short term, they can only work for a short amount of time before they get very fatigued, and they are speed and power. All right. We need both. And so when we talk about our training during this podcast, when I talk about how you're going to work out to build muscle strength, we're going to focus on both. You want activities that are going to build kind of that type 1 muscle fiber, more for endurance. And then you really need activities that are going to build and keep that muscle mass in your type 2 fibers as well, your speed and your power. So what this means for you is you're going to need different types of training. Okay, so we're going to talk about what that means. We're going to talk about progressive overload, what probably the most important, or one of the most important concepts to understand when it comes to building and keeping your muscle mass, progressive overload. We're going to talk about how many days a week and how you need to be challenging yourself. All right, so let's talk about each of those things. So, how do you put this into practice for yourself? I think we all know at this point, after those few minutes and just with general understanding, that we need to work our muscles. We need to be strong. We need it for our overall health, especially as we age. And why it happens is a loss of estrogen. That's a big piece, at least for women, okay? Not at that age of 30 part, but that understanding of why we start to lose more around that menopausal transition. It's the loss of estrogen in our bodies. So one thing I want to throw out is, as always, if you are feeling that you are training, you're going through all of these things that I'm talking about today, you are a woman in her, late 40s, 50s, 60s, even into 70s, wherever you are, if you feel like you're training hard and following all the steps and nothing is changing, or you feel really held back, go see your doctor. Go see a functional medicine doctor. See someone and talk to them about that. There are underlying things that you can look at, such as your hormone levels, possible HRT, possible supplementation to help support your hormones. So it's just a side note that I always want to throw out there. All right, so let's dive into how you're going to look at training. And this is for any age. All right, so I'm talking again, kind of from a perimenopausal, losing estrogen standpoint, where I'm really working on some of these things, but this is going to go for women in their 20s and 30s as you're trying to stay as strong as you can going into the transition. And again, this is for women all the way through their 90s. You can use these strategies to keep building muscle mass and prevent the loss of muscle mass. So first thing to know is you're going to need progressive overload. I'm going to talk about that first. What that means is that you can't keep doing the exact same thing all the time and expect results to happen or expect changes to occur. To truly build muscle strength, to work on hypertrophy of your muscles, we're building muscle strength, you have to increase the load or increase the challenge over time. That means you're increasing the weights that you're lifting, or you're increasing or just changing. Sorry, I'm going to say changing. So you're increasing the weights you're lifting. You're possibly changing the speed or the repetitions. You are changing things to make them more challenging. And those are generally the ways we do it, all right? By changing speed, by changing kind of the type of the repetition or the number of repetitions. And most importantly for today, you are upping your weights. That is progressive overload. And that doesn't happen one workout to the next. All right. So the way I do it personally, and the way I kind of challenge my clients to do it, is I look at it in 3-month chunks for myself. So I'm going to pick not just one workout to do, but kind of a general workout plan. And I stick with that for about 3 months. After that amount of time, I'm going to look at, is it working for me? Is it challenging me? Was that just way too easy? Or maybe it was right for that season of life and now I'm ready to really challenge myself. Like, what do I need to do to change it? But I recommend that you really set that in place, because otherwise it is way too easy for a year to pass and you have done that exact same arm workout, that exact same leg workout. You haven't changed your weights. Life got in the way. And you're wondering, did I help my muscle mass? Did I help my muscle strength? And I'm here to say you didn't hurt it. I mean, any movement is good movement. But again, we are diving in, telling the truth today about building muscle mass and muscle strength. And to do that, you have to challenge it. You have to make it harder. You have to have that progressive overload. So I want you to look at it every 2 to 3 months. You're checking in, to be honest, and say, you know what, that arm workout that I've been doing with dumbbells, I think that's way too easy. I hate to say it, but I think I could do that 2 times in a row and not break a sweat. Okay, you need to increase the weights. That's what that means. I also don't think, and I wouldn't even recommend it as a PT, you don't need to be doing this every workout one at a time. You want to get to the point that it's challenging. So we'll go into the challenge piece here in a moment. It needs to be challenging. And you stay there until your body is adapted slightly to it. Again, I don't want you there for a year, but give it 2 to 3 weeks there at least to make sure that you are strong enough to progress, to make sure that your body isn't going to get too sore from it. I mean, give yourself a couple weeks there at least. Then once that feels doable, you go to the next level again. You are always moving to the next level. Keeping in mind, sometimes again, it's lifting heavier weights. Sometimes it's just changing up the speed or the amount of reps. And I have so many workouts, especially in my unlimited program. We train this way. In my unlimited program and community and app, this is how we train. I'm telling you exactly what workout to do, exactly what day to work on this. So I'll have the link for that below if you want to see it in practice. It's a really good way to do it. But keeping that in mind, I think the number one thing is keeping in mind that progressive overload idea. For me personally, having some autoimmune diseases, having some endometriosis, just having some issues where I need to watch the soreness of my muscles, I'm checking in with that about 2 to 3 months because again, I'm already in a place of progressive overload. Like I'm pushing myself a little bit with my weights right now, but I know I can't up it every single workout. I'll get too sore. But also, it's way too easy to up it and then just stay there. I'm like, oh, I'm good to go. I'm doing what I need to be doing. And then I wonder a year later why nothing's changed. You have to be going to that next level. And I know sometimes, especially if you're working out at home, I know sometimes that even cost can be prohibitive. You're thinking, or space, you're thinking, I got to buy new dumbbells. I have to buy more. And there's no way around it except to say yes. And your health is something you can focus on to find different ways to do it. Like use what you have at home right now. Be creative if you need to. Sometimes I've found ways to lift a weight and then maybe do it in one arm versus both arms, because then it's going to challenge that one arm more. So you can be creative that way. You can look at adjustable weights. I'll have some links below in the show notes for that. So adjustable weights can be really nice because they save space, but you can up it by 2.5 pounds. There are ways to do it where you have those extra dumbbells available to you. I have so many people in my unlimited community who have gotten to the point that they love feeling strong so much that they're asking for dumbbells for their birthday and for holidays, and they post their gifts. They're so excited. And I want you to get to that point. I'm not saying you have to love every aspect of this. I want you to know that there is value to it. Even on the days you say, I don't want to do this, just know there's value to it. You're putting those health deposits in your own health bank. This is long-term we're working on, but also I want you to start to find joy. There's so much empowerment in feeling strong, so much. So that's progressive overload. You have to have that in order to really build that muscle mass. Now, again, hear me when I say there's still value in moving, and this isn't appropriate necessarily if you have an injury that you are coming back from. If you're in rehabilitation or PT right now, we start you light and we keep you there for high amounts of reps. Like I am talking, sometimes I'm keeping people at 20 to 50 reps with a light weight because I am building the movement pattern first. I'm convincing the body that it's not in pain. I'm convincing the body it can move safely. We're letting it heal. That's our process there. So progressive overload comes once you're past the injury into the next phase. So if you are experiencing injuries or pain and that's holding you back, I highly, highly encourage you to get to a physical therapist, get to a doctor. You need to figure those things out because it will hold you back. Absolutely. And we have podcasts about this, about how when you don't feel safe in your body or you have pain in your body, you don't want to move. You're afraid of making it work or making it worse. That's a valid point. And also that will hold you back from building muscle mass, from being strong, from being functional. It will. And so take the time. Don't let this feel like a discouragement. Make this feel like an encouragement. I'm encouraging you to go get that in order, like pelvic floor pain, prolapse, knee pain, all of that. See whoever you need to see to find some good movement habits and movement ability that you don't have pain. And that might even mean someone saying, sorry, squats aren't going to feel great to you, but let's find an alternative. That's great. You find an alternative and you move forward that way. So that is my encouragement to you around progressive overload. A piece to that we discussed is challenge. I am here to tell you, it's not from a tough love place. It's from just a scientific fact that to build muscle mass, You got to push yourself to a little bit of challenge. And that can range. Some people can push themselves to a little challenge. Some people can push themselves to a lot of challenge. But if you get to the 8th repetition of a set of bicep curls, squats, overhead presses, whatever it is, if you get to your 8th repetition and you can literally think about your to-do list and you suddenly say, oh my gosh, have I done 12 or have I done 20? I don't know. It's not hard enough. It just isn't. Again, you're getting some movement benefits, probably some fluid to the joint, some biomechanical benefits. You're getting some benefits. You're not building muscle mass if you can do 20 reps super easily. You want to find a place that at that 8th rep, or if you're working with me in a video and we are almost, and I say, okay, one more, you're thinking, oh my gosh, thank goodness we're almost done. That's where you kind of need to be, where you almost want a rest in between sets because you know you have to let that muscle rest because it's been working. Again, I don't want that to be too much because I don't want to put you into a flare if you have some, issues you need to know about. I don't want it to be that after 4 reps, you can't even walk. That's too much. But yeah, at that last repetition, you need to be saying, oh my gosh, I want to put this down. I need a drink of water. Phew, that was work. And if you're not saying that and your goal is muscle mass building, then it's not quite hard enough. So think of it that way. And also, we are talking about muscle mass today. We're talking about muscle strength and your weightlifting workouts. That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about body weight workouts. I'm not talking about Pilates. I'm not talking about mobility. I'm not talking about cardio. I am talking about lifting weights to build muscle mass. So in your Pilates workouts are going to look differently. I don't want those completely blowing your mind with soreness. I don't want those kind of things with every workout, okay? We want days that serve different purposes. I am saying when you are lifting weights for your goal of building muscle mass, you need to be challenging yourself so that by the end of that workout, you're thinking, wow, 1, I am so proud of myself. And 2, I need a break. I am glad I don't have to lift another weight over my head because I'm pretty tired right now. That's where you want to be. So you're just being honest with yourself. That's all. Just ask yourself and be honest with yourself. All right, let's talk about how this fits into your general workout plan. All right, so that's what I really want to look at here. So again, I mentioned that we're talking mostly about lifting weights. That's how you're going to build muscle strength in this paradigm of building muscle mass. Now, we talked about there's different types of training and your muscles work in different ways. I also want your muscles to be resilient. Okay. I want your body to be resilient. I want your muscles and your joint receptors to work in harmony so that you can catch yourself if you start to get off balance. I want you to have enough mobility that you can get on and off the floor and on and off the toilet as needed. All of those pieces are important, right? And that's why, again, if you're in Unlimited with me, you'll know in our workout calendar, we have a day of Pilates. We always have mobility days. We have some cardio days. We have lots of options for injuries and body weight workouts. If lifting weights isn't available to you right now, we have all of that. So that is a part of a general movement plan. But when it comes to building that muscle mass, which is what we're talking about today, you need to be lifting weights a minimum of 2 times a week. All right. And if you have a goal, like a higher goal, or if that's a normal thing for you and you think I want to add a little more, 3 times a week is great. Okay. Absolutely great. And that's what we have in Unlimited in our daily workouts. We are doing 2 to 3 days of lifting weights per week. Sometimes that 3rd day could look like resistance bands or Pilates with weights. Sometimes you can change it up that you're still doing some resistance training. But a minimum of 2 times a week, you need to be working out in the way we've talked today, lifting weights to a point of feeling challenged with progressive overload. Okay, that's 2 times a week, minimum of 20 minutes. That would be my recommendation. If you're thinking, how do I start? Where do I start? Start with that. And if that feels like too much, start with 10 minutes. I have so many 10-minute workouts available. Start with that. All right. Start wherever you are, meet your body where it is. And then get to a point that you can work 2 days a week, a minimum of 20 minutes, lifting those weights to progressive overload in a place of challenge. Then when it comes to those type 2 muscle fibers, We include that in our cardio day. So meaning maybe you're doing some low impact plyometrics, or maybe you're doing switching up the speed in another one of your workouts, like that third day a week. You're saying, okay, I'm going to do some speed work today. That might look, again, for us in our community, it looks like a plyometric workout, like a low impact or non-impact high intensity interval training workout. We have so many that, again, are going to meet your body where it is. Because something to keep in mind is that this looks different for everyone. My progressive overload is going to look different than your progressive overload. You are not comparing to anyone else. You are only in your own lane. Your progressive overload simply means that you're doing more than you did a month ago in your own body. That's what it means. All right. You're comparing it to yourself. So if you were able to do 10 minutes 2 times a week 2 months ago, can you do 20 minutes 2 times a week now? If you were doing bicep curls with 10 pounds 2 months ago, can you try 12 pounds now? That is how you're looking at this. Okay. I am in the same boat. I follow people online doing amazing workouts with weights and lifting, and I can't even think to match that. Still recovering from a mastectomy and a secondary surgery with, again, endometriosis and some hypermobility issues within there. I have learned over time how to meet my body where it is. And it's a constant give and take of, okay, all right, we're going to try this weight today. We're upping it because we feel good. And then we're going to give it a week to see how we respond. We being me and my body, it's a partnership. We're going to see how we respond. All right, great. We did well with that. Awesome. So we're going to stick there for 2 more weeks and then maybe we can up it. Or maybe instead of upping the weight on that, I can actually add one more move. So now I'm doing 2 moves that day for the same muscle group, right? So it's this constant kind of journey with your body, with the idea that you are adding weights, making it more challenging, adding reps, maybe changing up the movement of, okay, I'm so used to that routine. Like I've done those 4 moves in a row in this order for a year. It's time to change that up. Switch the moves, switch the order, switch something. You have to have that constant challenge. And again, what's most important is that you are working that challenge and that progressive overload in your own lane, in your own body, and knowing too, there are curveballs life will throw your way. For each surgery I've had, I have had to build all of this back up again, all of it. And that is a part of the process. It's believing in yourself and not getting stuck where you are and just knowing it will come back if you are intentional and purposeful about building habits, making movement a part of your life, understanding the different types of movement you need. Once you have that, then even when life throws you that curveball, you rest, you honor your body, and then you come right back to it. You check off those boxes. All right, I'm back to my 2 times a week of lifting weights or 3 times a week of lifting weights. And I'll get back to the weight that I had before. I'm not there yet, but I'm building back to it. All right, so building muscle mass to review. You're going to lift weights a minimum of 2 times a week. And a lot of you are already doing that. Awesome. Keep doing it. Make sure that you're working progressive overload into that. Maybe adding that third day, all right, of weights. Then check in. Are you working to challenge? Have you even checked in with the workouts? Like, have you changed it up at all in the past few months or the past year? What can you do to change it up? Do you need to buy a few more dumbbells, or do you just need to search through my YouTube channel or search through Unlimited and find a workout that maybe you haven't tried before? Do you need to go see a physical therapist or a doctor and get those injuries or pains in order so you can start to build that muscle mass? What do you need to do? Write it down, make a goal, start today. You got this. All right. You can do it. I believe in you. And I truly, for myself and my clients I work with, I don't know if there is a more powerful way to feel complete confidence in your body except starting to lift weights. Like, there is something magical, truly, that happens, especially with women, in our connection to our bodies when we start to lift some weights and we see that first improvement of strength. There's so much value and confidence that is built. And that is what I want. Like, that is what I want for you, for every single person listening. I want you to feel that. I want you to know that you can do this. I want you to know that in your body, in your soul. So links are below, wherever you need to start. And I will talk to you again soon.